So it's been an interesting development for me. Let's see if I can get the line. Thank you.
Sorry.
If I can't see, no, that's a photographer's line. The physical part of my being is a part that I have paid attention to in energized fashion and then forgotten about for long periods of time, several times in my life, and I'm currently on one of the places where I haven't been. So being here and having CrossFit not long ago and today are helpful for reminding me, as God's saying, you gotta live in that thing. Or maybe that's part of who I actually am. Not that I want to disagree with the t-shirts, which nobody's wearing today, but because I'm body too, I guess. I was particularly taken a couple of weeks ago by Jeff's presentation and the imagination that what he likes particularly about strong physical activity is that eventually he ends up getting down to the I got nothing left. I'm at zero. And then someone comes along to help. And that's a metaphor for us in our life at the times when we have just flat hit bottom and got nothing left to give. That's when somebody comes along beside us and says, you can do this, you can make this. That's part of what we're doing here this morning and every week and all the other times, is being alongside each other, and perhaps at those moments more open to the divine extra strength that some people have experienced as being helpful. And others are still, arguing with themselves whether that exists or not. Teasing those who shall remain nameless. My memory of that which Jeff spoke about was when I was an ROTC cadet in college back in the early 70s. Those who've lived through it, that's an interesting time to have been wearing a uniform around campus. I went to the Army's Airborne School doing junior and senior years, and one day I didn't do enough of one of the physical training exercises, and so they put me in the PT pit for extra of those same ones, which I couldn't do enough of, so actually I ended up getting stronger. But at one point, I got to whimpering. It was like a child's whimper. And the guy next to me, PT pits never were allowed talking. I mean, you said anything, you got to do more of it. But he started coaching me. He said, got a girl back home? Well, I didn't, but that's okay. He was speaking to me for my benefit and trying to take my mind off it. And so that was a living experience I've had, what Jeff spoke about. The other experience that has come to mind was a client of mine who is no longer in this city, who came from another city totally, and so and I think she'd appreciate me telling this story. She had a terribly difficult transition from her home and living space for probably 30 years or thereabouts to this southern wilderness that was just horrendous for her. Lots of depression around that. and had an anxious kind of streak in her personality. And those added up poorly for her. And she started making a discipline of going to yoga. And then she took yoga teacher training. And someplace, I don't remember, it wasn't immediately after she began yoga. In fact, it was quite a while later, but she commented, what it's taught me is that discomfort is okay. That when we get uncomfortable, we don't have to flee from it. It's okay to hold, live in the discomfort and the uncomfortable for a while. It'll go away. It's something you can learn to live with. And so I've often or always or something thought about yoga in that way. When we get to one of those poses that you can do that nobody else can, that's making part of my body uncomfortable, I'll try and remember that invitation to breathe through it and think of it as an example of the harder things in other areas of life too. That's all.
Thanks, Doctor.